Again, anyone willing to pay for photos of my feet, holla at your girl.
Anybody who's willing to pay a little bit less for photos of Jackie's feet, holla at your boy.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Johnny. I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Johnny DeVito.
Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Subscribe, please, on YouTube if you're watching on there. Give us a like, throw us a comment, share with your friends, follow us on Instagram. Yeah. Like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. You know what to do. You're just not doing it.
Well, it's up to us, Jackie. We're riders in the storm, right? We will continue to move forward. You know what I mean, right? We're going to continue to, to keep paving the way, right? For everybody that wants a music podcast that is barely about music, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're pioneers.
And we definitely share their spirit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The pioneer spirit.
Yeah, we've been known to portage. We've been known to traverse many many dangerous landscapes.
Traversing. No raping and pillaging.
Well, speak for yourself, Jackie. I've been known to pillage a little bit, but the rapes.
Yeah,
have always really eluded me.
It's a hard line in the sand.
It is.
I'll stand for pillaging.
You stand for pillaging?
Sure.
Oh, okay, we are for pillaging, anti-rape.
Exactly. I'm glad we've made that distinction.
Fuck, we're only a couple minutes in. Okay. I had to go there, huh? All right.
Yeah. So you can tell what album did you bring in today?
Well, Jackie, it's my distinct pleasure, my honor. We're talking about a band that should be everybody's favorite band. They just don't know about them yet.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know why. They've been around since the late 80s. But today we're listening to or talking about Swingin' 2011 album, Here Under Protest.
Nice.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about it.
And before we get into that, we'll cover some other topics.
Yeah, what do you got? This one I didn't read I read the headline to it.
Yeah, well we're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna go there.
Yeah. We're gonna do that's for the other.
I'll follow your lead here, Jax. I'll follow your lead.
So we're talking about sugar daddies.
Oh. And I mean, this might be the second or third time that we've covered this, Jackie. And I mean, anybody that listeners of the show will remember that I was a little bit upset that the last time that a gentleman had approached you to pay you, goods and services, some kind of exchange there.
Yes.
I got really upset and almost like assuming that was going to be the only opportunity that you were going to get.
You thought wrong.
Apparently, I did.
I have been approached once again. By a man. I forget what his name is. We'll leave that out of it. But basically...
Well, he only takes low-angled selfies.
Of him holding wads of $100 bills.
Just double chins and wads of hundos. And, I mean, he only has about 6 or 7 posts, but...
But it's all various photos of him holding wads of cash.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And first, I didn't even see that he had messaged me at first because it went into, like, the requests or whatever. And so first we were just laughing at his profile because he followed me, and I was like, "Look, get a load of this fella."
Yeah, it's pretty unreal.
Yeah,
it was pretty unreal. But Jackie, I wasn't just gonna let another whale slip through our fingers again here, right? So when he
reached out,
and I wasn't gonna let you just let this go.
Yeah, here I'll pull up the message.
Okay.
So he reached out, basically saying, "Are you interested do you need a reliable sugar daddy to help you financially without requiring any sexual activity?"
Fucking who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, I love that he brands himself as reliable. We love to see that. We don't want a flaky sugar daddy.
Too often, Jackie, have my sugar daddies just been like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to... Yeah, they won't come to my baseball games, graduations, things like that. You know what I mean, right?
And
where's the sugar daddy when you need him?
Exactly.
Sugar daddy wasn't there.
In the sugar daddy realm, you want someone reliable because you can't get into business like that with someone who's just gonna
No, Jackie, we need chicken fingers and Gucci bags, right? Like,
exactly.
I think that's what's important here.
Yeah, some of these new vegan chicken tendies that are coming out that I'm pretty excited about. But that's neither here nor there. So I responded to this guy saying, oh, fuck, where'd it go? Don't think you can afford me with a little.
You shot him a little winky face at him?
Little winky.
Okay. Which I think is the right thing to do, right? Because what you're trying to do in this situation is attack a man's ego.
Exactly.
Right? Clearly, he's concerned with his self-image. Like, I mean, I don't know how. Like, he obviously doesn't like take his physical appearance into that thing. He feels that if he could just, cash a paycheck and show like $1,400 in his hand and rolled up, variously what they do. So it's a Donnie Brasco tactic, Jackie, from like Mob Guys or whatever. Al Pacino told Johnny Depp's character, you know what I mean, when you're holding your money or whatever, right? You always put the you always put the C note on the outside, right? So I'm assuming that like if we went back and really looked at it, because this is all American bills, right? So it's very easy to distinguish Canadian stacks of cash. That
is a good thing to know, because if he's paying me in American, that's even better.
We're like we got to kind of keep this whale on the line here.
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying.
We're trying to wheel him in here.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's going to be a deal breaker for him when he realizes that we're kind of a package deal?
He might have some questions.
Yeah, because I mean, it's tables for two that he's paying for. He's paying for two
have to wine and dine. Right?
Yeah, two can wine and dine.
Yeah, but I think I spooked him a bit because he has not responded.
And it's just classic. It's this classic kind of persona that this guy wears, right?
Yeah.
He wears his mask every day. You know what I mean, right? Yeah, trying to reach out to young women to say like he's just gonna give you I don't understand what the play here is, right?
Yeah, but like what's in it for him? That's where red flag, sugar daddy saying they don't require sexual activity. What do you require then? What is in this for you?
I don't know. It's because if it's like some kind of relationship in another, like if you have to like sit and like listen to his problems, which there's many of.
Yeah, if it's another scenario like that, I'm out.
Yeah, right? Like
feet pics?
Super into, where are all these motherfuckers requesting all these feet pics?
Right? Maybe I should post more photos of my feet.
You probably should.
Yeah, that should just be my new feed. It's just all feet.
Absolutely.
A feed feed.
Well, a feet feed.
A feet feed, exactly.
Well, I mean, it could be like a feet fiesta too, right? Depending on the time of the year, right? And maybe you can get really festive with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be like feet Navidad or something like that at a Christmas time or something.
Feet Navidad,
right? Like we're just spitballing a couple back and forth here, right?
Yeah.
The monster mash, you could be like mashing like mashed potatoes with your feet in the shake of like a ooh, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
With like all the pumpkin guts coming in between the toes.
Yeah. I was listening to David Tell's special the other day, and he has this joke. No, I don't know butch it, but yeah, something about fucking a pumpkin and like, why was it smiling at me? I don't know. It was pretty bad.
But so my other favorite thing about this guy's profile is the video he posted and the other videos he had on his highlights. I don't think we probably can't show it, but I feel like I can like play it and put it up to the mic because the audio is
can
the
you
important part.
Maybe like say his ad or something like that? It's like say his handle, so then maybe the viewers can go and look him up on their own if they
so it's Steven. I'm gonna have to spell this out. It's Steven Die Dave 92882. So that's Steven spelled STEVEN DYEDAVE 92882. And so I encourage everyone to take a look for yourself, because this profile really it made my morning. It gave me the giggles.
Has he had any posts since messaging you?
No.
When was he last active?
His last when was he last active?
Oh, sorry. So his last post.
He was active 3 hours ago.
Okay.
His last post was 2 days ago. The one before that was 6 days ago. Then the same day, 6 days ago. And then 6 days ago again. So he's new to Instagram.
Okay, hell yeah. So we're going to get some regular posts. Like, we're going to watch him kind of build, right? And if anything that we can do as a podcast, like we could definitely, help this guy out. Maybe slide into those DMs, people, right? Like ask him what's up. Ask him maybe if he needs a sugar daddy, like if he needs a sugar granddaddy, or something like that.
Yeah, he's following 828 people, all of which are young women. It's so funny.
Oh, nice. I didn't get a follow or a request, right? Which I thought was kind of bullshit.
Well, it's funny because I posted the screenshot of the chat on my Instagram stories, and 2 of my other friends, girls my age, were also added by him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But let me play the audio for this video because it's fucking hilarious. So he's basically to describe what's happening, he's just sitting there holding a wad of cash, just flipping through it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is...
As you do when you're balling.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell to be poor. Especially for all you goons. I'm getting the paper for that much. Poverty.
It's hell to be poor.
Yeah, and for context, he's maybe flicking $1,200.
Yeah, and then the thing that I love is that, like, in all of these, he has hype men in the background of all of these.
So, like, I guarantee that this guy, like, runs, like, a roofing company or something like that, right? So, like, the guys that he has, like, hyping him up, he's breaking them off, like, a chunk of that stack, right?
Life is great.
What? He's got that song, "You Stupid Ass Bitch, I Ain't Fucking With You"? Okay.
Every day.
Well, actually, Jackass stand corrected because it sounds like he has like some liquid assets for sure. Like it sounds like he's definitely caked up.
I mean, yeah. Look, he bought some
Cavassier. What is that? Oh,
go back. It's the first one.
Oh, it's some Remy Martin, 1738. I mean, that's delicious stuff. I mean,
it's kind of mid-grade liquor. I wouldn't say that's top shelf.
No, but it's an acquired taste, right? It's big in the black communities. Sure. They like a Remy Martin over there, like a Hennessy.
Yeah, maybe this guy's big in black communities. This is
I don't know. He's
favorite.
Big in any community just because he's a fat guy.
This is my favorite.
Hell to be poor.
It's hell to be poor.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely it is, right? But you know what? Also, it's hell to be a fucking middle-aged 50-year-old fat guy that's messaging young Canadian women asking for, which is fucking weird.
Asking to give you money.
Just to
poverty,
give you money, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hell to be poor, right? But we are poor.
It's hell.
So like, how can we do to get out of this thing, right? Maybe
I don't know. I took him up on his offer. Well, I was a bit cheeky with it.
You were.
So maybe that's not what he's about.
Yeah, he's probably like, "You ungrateful bitch."
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
he's
right?
Like, has he seen my 4 or has she seen my 4 posts?
It's like clearly
I
I'm out here.
have at least one big wad of cash to take photos with.
That's gonna be awesome because like if he's only been posting for like 2 weeks and that's just like say he sold a vehicle or maybe he got like some kind of settlement from I don't know, whatever factory he worked at and busted his fucking knee or something like that, right? Like I'm trying to think that like his life has probably just been hell for the past like few years or whatever, right? So the insurance company finally paid out, right? So now he's got this stack of cash, but those hype men in the back, what you don't see when the camera is off, they're going like, "Dude, let's get some coke." So that stack is gonna diminish very fast, right? So when it's hell to be poor, I can't wait until he's like back at the bottom again and he's like sold his truck. The only thing that he has is a Wi-Fi connection, right? Like that's going to be awesome. And then at that point, we should reach out to him and say, "Hey, do you need some cash?" Nothing sexual.
I love like before, like for drug users, I hear you have to take out cash before.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
I love the idea of having the cash on you that you're about to spend on drugs and just being like, poverty.
Just before,
It's hell to be poor.
I would love if it's like, like you're a couple hits away from like, you know what I mean? Like the crack really taking over.
Yeah.
Right? You're sitting there and you just be like, "Man, I totally got this addiction like covered, right? Finally, I have like enough money that I can pay the rent. I got my addiction totally taken care of. Yeah, I'll take 2 more grams, please. And you know what I mean? And then we'll just keep kind of snowballing this stuff. You know what I mean? We're on the hustle. We're on the grind. We're going to do nothing. But yeah, no, I'll take 2 more grams. And then we'll just keep this fucking thing rolling forward, right? 2 more, please. And then you just fucking sitting there just smoking boulders. Like, I don't know what it is about old fat white guys, but they can fucking burn. I don't know. I mean, I've never, from what I heard, right? There's a fat crackhead from my hometown that was actually just stabbed to death in front of a 7-Eleven.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fat crackhead.
Yeah, well, he was fat when I knew him back in the day. Right. I assume that, like, if you smoke crack for that long,
you
then
probably, like,
I think you
drop
some pounds.
You trim out a bit. Yeah, as it goes with the lifestyle.
Yeah, but I don't know. He was a friend of mine, so I don't want to speak ill of the dead and shit like that, but it's getting crazy in my hometown right now.
Yeah, so I've heard.
So hopefully that guy's crack addiction doesn't turn into getting stabbed in front of a 7-Eleven, but I mean...
I wish him well.
Yeah,
I was keen to take him up on his business offer. He doesn't seem to be interested with my little quips.
Yeah,
so
he wants somebody a little bit more like submissive, right?
Yeah.
He wants a gal that isn't going to speak her mind. You know?
He definitely looks like he wants submission.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he gives a fuck about what you have to say.
Yeah.
Or wants to hear you.
Yeah, no, he has his. What do you think his hype man.
You would think about your stance on like just politics in the world in general, your vegan outlook on life and shit like that. Like, do you think that guy wants to hear any fucking thing that comes out of your mouth for more than 5 minutes?
I don't think he would care for me that
much. He has to want to see your butthole then, right?
Exactly. That's okay. It all comes back to that. If you are propositioning a lady to be their sugar daddy and you specify that you don't require anything sexual.
A lady, ladies and gentlemen. A lady.
I'm just saying,
Jackie, this is why we're not getting fucking... You got to get your shit together, kid.
Hey, I'm still getting the offers rolling in.
Are you saying that I'm not putting work in out here? Jackie, I'm in these streets every night. Like, I'm for sale, ladies and gentlemen.
But that is a red flag.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, I'm a sugar daddy, but don't worry, I don't require anything sexual yet.
It's a bald-faced lie.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. They're going to try and groom you. That's what he's
hold on, but like he might be genuinely clouded in his way of thinking because maybe what he needs from you to fulfill his sexual needs might not be what you consider to be sexual.
Okay.
Right? So say he gets off when a girl, specifically Canadian girl, right? Because this guy's clearly from the States, or at least he gets paid in American dollars.
Right.
And he's been reaching out to your friends who are, Western Canadian girls, right? So maybe he's can only get off if like a girl from the west coast of Canada maybe puts on like an entire snowsuit and slip and slides through like a mountain of poutine.
I'm super
Do you know what I mean?
That.
Right? Like that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
But it's incredibly specific.
It is.
And just because that's what he needs to fulfill his sexual desires, for him to say that it's nothing sexual for you, I think is
it could be sexual for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's a bit of a lie, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of, and once you're in that territory, then things would presumably progress.
The natural progression from poutine slip and slide is open butthole pictures. Like there's maybe like 1 or 2 levels in between there, right? But that's up to science to decide, right?
Yeah.
That's up for the suits in Ottawa.
I don't know how it would feel. I mean, like in theory, I'm like, yeah, I would do, like if you're going to pay me ridiculous amounts of money to do shit that isn't like sexual, but you're getting off, that's still a bit degrading.
Like, would you, I don't know, like take an entire jar of mustard and just like hard squeeze it into your face until like the duration of it, right? While you're maybe like reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, it has to be weirdly specific, right?
Yeah. Again, like on the surface, I'm like, yeah, that's easy enough, but actually doing it would feel a bit weird.
Yeah.
It would feel, like I said, a bit degrading.
Totally.
Yeah, it would make me think twice about my own self-worth.
You got to want it, right? You got to, and I think that goes even for the person that's paying for it too, right? Unless he's into you not wanting it, which is like another level of depravity here. But
yeah,
you know, like are you familiar with cake farts, Jackie?
No.
Okay, so there's on the internet, on the Google, if you Google cake farts,
okay,
there's a girl who made videos where she has a cake,
and she farts into it,
and she kind of sits down all sultry and slow onto it, and then farts, and then the icing bubbles out. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, so check it out. I mean, Google this. It's my friend Shelby showed me that shit like maybe 10, 15 years ago, and it's still the funniest thing. You know, when something's so funny that you can't even laugh anymore.
Yeah,
like it's just that's it.
Yeah.
That's the funniest thing that you're ever gonna see, probably for years to come. So, but like that girl is super into it, and I feel like that's her own, you know, intellectual property. You know, right? So she's gonna go on, right? I don't think that, you know, there's probably like many imposters, many people trying to, you know, get on the cake fart train.
It's not like the weird like act that is degrading. If you're like, if you're a cake fart girl and that makes you feel good about yourself, then that's like an empowering thing.
Totally.
People, you know, are paying you for cake fart
hopefully.
videos, whatever.
I don't know. Hopefully she does it
like
for the love.
Well, yeah,
hopefully
but I
never wanted to make a dime
But I
off
also
of
hope
this.
that she monetized it.
Well, for her sake, absolutely.
Yeah,
because I'm
exactly.
sure if like I've seen it, then it probably has millions of views the world around.
And so it's not the act itself; it's just why you're doing it. And I feel like it would. I just don't know if I could ever bring myself to get into that zone where I'm like doing something for this like strange man, so he pays me, even if it's not sexual, like for me, even if it's like. Getting on a slip and slide and whatever.
It's
like
super
it
weird,
would be.
yeah.
It's a little bit weird.
Okay.
It would kind of make me feel a bit gross.
I was just busting
myself.
your balls. Like I don't think I'm not going to think any less of you, right? For not doing it.
I mean, like, but it's tantalizing, right? Like that's why, like, legitimately, like I would think about feet pics.
We live in like a gig-based economy world now, Jackie, right? Like some, like you could just do DoorDash or you know, Uber Eats, drive for, you know, any of these things, right? Like there's in the gig-based economy, I feel like if you separated like the sex from the service, right? Then maybe it might be some kind of like viable option for some like income, right? A side hustle, if you will.
Well, that's why I like the idea of feet pics, because I don't actually have to do anything. You're not seeing me. I'm just sending you photos of my feet. Like that's like I'm not actually having to do anything. That's like kind of weird and like kind of like specific in
like
that way.
Like sending socks or something like that. Do you think it'd be a little bit more personal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Again, anyone willing to pay for photos of my feet, holla at your girl.
Anybody who's willing to pay a little bit less for photos of Jackie's feet, holla at your boy. I will cut out the motherfucking. Well, I guess I'll be the middleman, but you know what I mean. Let's just say, Jackie, I'm trying to get paid out here too. It's hard out here for a pimp, you know. Fuck.
Yeah. I'll take note if suddenly I notice you walking around, just camera down low, just trying to take photos of the feet.
Jackie, if you think that I don't have photo albums stretched back, maybe dating like 3 to 4 years or whatever, I'll post maybe 1,500 Jackie feet photos on my phone as we speak, right? Like, so at first it was just like a passion project, but now I've realized that I can monetize. So
yeah.
I'm just
there
saying,
you go.
That
works for me too, because then I wouldn't even have to do anything. If you get at me, I'll just dip into your archives.
Jackie, I've already done the work here. What makes you think you're getting a cut of your own feet pics? Fuck, man.
They're my feet.
Oh, you know.
My little tootsies.
I'm going to treat your feet pics like Motown treated its artists. You aren't going to get a cut of this, kid. I swear to God.
Yeah. You own
I own it now,
content.
right? It was a gig kind of it was gig-based economy at that point,
I
right?
guess
You
so.
could be like a session musician.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see the World Class Wrecking Crew?
No.
Oh, it's a cool documentary.
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Like there's all these gig musicians that would just come into Motown and just fucking slay it out. And that girl's like the lady bass player there who's like laid down the bass lines of like 50 of the most memorable bass lines of all time.
Yeah, that's a great documentary. There's also another one on Netflix too, Muscle Shoals. That's about that studio and like sort of there. It doesn't focus as much on the on the studio band, but they are a part of. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
cool,
check out your Motown. Do your Motown history, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. That one is more like southern rock.
Okay.
But a lot of monumental albums recorded
Absolutely.
there.
Well, fuck. Speaking of rock and roll, should we sort of transition?
Yeah, we can
transition.
transition.
Jackie, Swingin' Utters are the best band.
Okay.
I say that a lot.
You do. But you mean it every time.
I do mean it every time, right?
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, like when I found this band, I was like, that's exactly what I need right now. Right there, it's like straightforward, kind of like a street punk philosophy, right? But at the time too, they can like mellow out a little bit. They have so many good fucking songs, ranging from like any kind of topic, from like Pills and Smoke and their earlier stuff, of 5 Lessons Learned, and then to like you know, kind of like almost like love loss, or like love songs about loss and kind of like, you know, desolation and things like that, right? It's the songs of the street kid done to like almost like a really angry, like almost like folky country kind of vibe or something, like really flipping it on its head or whatever, right? Like, what do you think? Like when I gave you this album, is like one of the best punk albums and stuff, like it doesn't hit as hard as like the other stuff that I've definitely given you, right?
Yeah, no, I really, really liked it. I thought it was very, very accessible.
Yeah, and everybody will too.
Yeah, no, actually, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I listened to it many times.
Hell yeah.
Today, yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I thought
you're
there was
gonna
a lot of good
be
jams.
like, I mean, if you dig this album, and like the reason I chose this one, just because like I'm a sucker for good titles, and when a band of this nature that starts in like the late 80s, they put out albums all the way up until I think about 2001.
Yeah.
Maybe 2003, and then take like a hiatus, and it's like 7 or 8 years or something like that, and until this comes out here under protest in 2011. And when you come back and you're like, I don't know, here there's something tongue-in-cheek about that title that is, you know, pretty fucking cool. And
I like the comma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a perfectly placed comma, ladies and gentlemen,
makes all the difference.
Fucking when you text us, punctuate, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Sorry,
yeah,
but,
none of these run-on sentences.
Oh my God.
Except sometimes for the purpose of comedy, run-on sentences, it's funnier if you don't have any punctuation.
Yeah, I text you with like very little punctuation. So I just say that.
It's
Disclaimer.
true.
Disclaimer. But there's something about this band that I think kind of ages like a fine wine. And the earlier days, like, yeah, it's a lot harder, faster, kind of a little bit more straight forward songs, where they didn't really get away from like the song structure and the writing style, but I think like the band just gets a little bit older,
right?
And they've done so much more because collectively, like Swingin' Utters is, I mean, there's maybe been like 10 or 12 members of this band over the course of like 30 years or something. So with the members in this band, like John Bonnell has like the Filthy Thieving Bastards, Jack Dalrymple, who's like one of the later guitarists that came in later. He's in Toys That Kill and Dead to Me and like multiple fucking bands. Spike Slauson, the bass player from this, is the guy for Me First in the Gimme Gimmes.
Okay.
Yeah, so like he leaves
fun.
Swingin' Utters and is in like the biggest show tune band of all fucking time or whatever, right?
Fun.
So yeah, exactly, right? So there's so much like if Swingin' Utters is like the nucleus or whatever, then like all those people have gone out and like branched off and made like so much good music under so many bands, and I think I only touched the surface of them. There's probably like, you know, 10 or 12 other like, you know, side projects or whatever that each member has done, right? All of them great, but for anybody listening, definitely I would say go Dead to Me and Filthy Thieving Bastards, and I mean obviously Me First in the Gimme Gimmes, and then you'll see like how like wide and varied the musical styling can be, and then when they come back to actually make the record, it's still so core Swingin' Utters.
Yeah,
you know,
but
the sound is still them, right?
It is consistent, but one of the things that I noted was that it is like a varied sound throughout the record. Like it all sounds like the same band, but the songs like they are all the songs sound different from each other, you know, whereas like with some punk bands they kind of all blend together, but these songs are all like very distinct.
I think when you have like two main songwriters, and Spike I wrote Give It to the Man, which is like give it all to the man. I love that song or whatever, but like I mean the lyric sheet on it is maybe only like 4 or 5 lines or something like that. The majority of this record is written by Johnny Bonnell and Darius Kolsky, and like Darius has a lot of like he has the higher pitch voice, and he can kind of like lighten up the sound or whatever, where Johnny has like the the deeper, heavier voice. And when like Bad Religion does it, I think that they have like Brett Gurwitz and Greg Graffin, when they're both writing the songs, it's still Bad Religion because Greg is still singing.
Yeah.
Right. So like then you have like the Lawrence Arms or Dillinger 4, what like these like kind of the newer crop of bands where they definitely split the writing up between the band, but they also take turns singing, right? So when you have these bands with multiple like frontmen, for whatever reason I latch onto it. So Rancid, one of my favorite bands as well, right? And there's just like the record can peak and valley in a lot of different ways, I think, right? Rather than if you're listening to like I love NoFX, but it's really hard to
distinguish.
Exactly, right? So it's you
I mean,
get a lot more of like a varied. There's more toppings on the pizza here.
Well, I think and that is a very, very common criticism of the Chili Peppers, is that all their songs sound the same.
Oh my god, yeah. I think you can track like that progression of that band and the sound more than you can like distinguish the different stuff on the record.
Yeah, that's,
you know what I mean?
and
like,
it's totally
I think by
fair.
the years you can like for me anyway, like you can definitely see like, oh, this was like the more funky stuff and this is the more like accessible, and then like now they're or whatever they found their sound kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's totally fair because because Anthony Kiedis has a very distinctive voice.
Oh yeah.
And so it's easy to say they all sound the same, but then like once you get to know the band better, then you hear like the nuances and stuff. You hear when they like switch over. But yeah, like I get if there's like one person that's always going to be the front man, then there is a tendency. Totally. Same with the Lumineers. I remember I used to think all of their songs.
I've never listened to them.
Well, so I used to think that all of their songs
I'm sweating like a pig in here. It is hot.
It is hot.
We're on the Vancouver heat wave, ladies and gentlemen.
We can turn on the fan. I don't
think it's gonna mess with the audio.
I don't think so. I think these will be
Let's give it a
fine.
shot.
Yeah. Turn on.
Okay.
Turn on. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's much
worth
better.
it.
Yeah, that's.
I don't give
better.
a shit if that fucks with the audio a little bit.
No, because I feel
I'm
like we've had
like
we definitely have like sound in the background often, but like we don't like the mics don't pick it up.
We have a shout out to Dustin Gilchrist. He messaged us like we have a much better angle, much crisper look and stuff. So now I'm all self conscious because I'm fucking sweating on camera and they can see it.
He responded to my story yesterday.
We love DG. One of the biggest supporters of the show.
Sugar Daddy.
Yeah. Big ups.
Yeah. Shout out. But yeah, I think when there is one person singing all the songs, there's a tendency. Oh yeah, Lumineers. That's where I was at. Yeah. Again, like I used to think all their fucking songs sound the same. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But I saw them live. They opened for Tom Petty. And I was like, holy fuck, like they're really good. And now that I got more into the band, now I can see the nuances, and I'm like, none of the songs sound the same. But it depends on how well you know the band, you know.
I think that my dad saw those guys at the at Stanley Park at the Bowl there, and they had some kind of I think he saw a couple of their shows. One of them was like I was blown away by the musicianship and the band themselves or something.
Incredible.
But I think they asked the crowd to not smoke weed or something because it was like fucking with his vocals or something. And Vancouver was like, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think that might have been them. I'll confirm on a later episode. But yeah. I always thought that was a funny story though.
That is funny. They were incredible live. When I've only seen them the one time. But yeah, they turned me into a fan.
Yeah.
Because I was even like, we don't have to see the opener, but like, you know, my dad and Kelly and stuff, like they wanted to see the whole concert. And then we saw them, we're like, holy fuck, they were
Sometimes
good.
it's worth doing it.
Yeah.
I went to a Foo Fighters show and I saw Cage the Elephant, and I don't know like what they've done since then. But that first album, like it was like some fucking young, like I don't know, Iggy Pop looking kid or whatever was like. It was a cool show. Yeah. And I mean, like that being said, like any punk show that you go to, there's so much, especially like young local talent. We're gonna have, again, I don't know when this one's gonna come out. We have a couple episodes in the bank.
It'll be a few weeks from now.
Well, but, I mean, we got some local talent coming up. That
our first musician.
Yeah, really stoked. Really stoked about that. That's gonna be gonna open the floodgates to many more, definitely. But even speaking live, like this band, if you're gonna get a chance to see Swingin' Others live, you're gonna get like the best kind of like rock and roll experience that you're gonna have, because Johnny Bono just punches himself in the face for half an hour and just like they really fucking go for it. And I mean, at the age that they are now, I go all the way down to this festival. This is a few years ago, I think 2015, and it was called It's Not Dead Fest in San Bernardino, California. So I fly down to see some friends in San Francisco. We hang out for a little bit. We drive down to LA to pick up some more friends, and then like 2 or 3 hours like east to San Bernardino to this festival, right?
Right.
And we camp the night before. It's the hottest fucking day that I've ever seen, even in the midst of a Vancouver heat wave, Jackie.
Yeah.
The heat is unbearable. I took my foot out of my shoe and I put it on the concrete and I lifted it up just to see like the sweat mark there, and it evaporated in like 5 seconds. Like it was intense. Yeah. So this kid that was like a friend of a friend. I don't know what we're gonna call him, but everybody knows who I'm talking about. That was at this that was at the show, and he was a nice enough guy. He just gets a little too much, gets a little too into it, right? So he drinks like a bottle of Jim Beam before we even get to the festival, like before the gates even open. Oof. And he falls down, like you could just. I'm watching his eyes, and he just like loses consciousness, and he just fucking eats it. Yeah. So at this point, Nathan, this a friend who was in the group at the time, and he just looks and he's like, "Oh, it's cool. Me and Johnny will take him back." And I'm like, motherfucker, I came here. Like, we've all traveled a while to get to the show, but I came significantly more far.
Yeah, I'm not going to fucking leave to take care of this nutsack.
But he, so he said it. So, like, whatever. Okay, so we did, right? We get back there. And it was just so much shit happened, basically, that, we kind of left him to fend for himself, I guess. Here's some water and some shade. You know what I mean? You went too hard too early, kid, right? So we go back into the show. And there was maybe a group of 6 or 7 of us, and it took us so long to, to travel there and whatever to party together for the day.
That is a good lesson for the kids. Pace yourself.
It is a marathon, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a sprint.
Yeah, don't fucking go hard when you're preeing for something.
Yeah, just have a couple, relax, right?
Yeah, anyways, continue the story.
Yeah, so anyway, we get in there, and I think the first band is on. I don't know if it's like Anti-Flag or Real Big Fish or somebody, right? There's so many bands there, and I've seen a lot of punk bands that I love, right? I think like Gorilla Biscuits and Swingin' Utters were 2 of the bands that I've never seen before. I was really excited to check out. And at one point, like right at the beginning of the day, we all looking like, should we get some beers? And a couple of my buddies were like, yeah, we'll get enough beers for the gang.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't see these motherfuckers for the entire day, Jackie. Yeah. Like the whole thing, it's just me. Like, and I made a lot of friends. Like, I'm okay on my own at a festival or whatever, right? But I'm like, God damn, you think you're gonna run into him at some point, but this place fills up. Thousands and thousands of people. Yeah. And every band from like NoFX, Bad Religion, Descendants, like any punk band that you want to see, like, throw a fucking dart and you'll hit them, right? Yeah. So by the end of the evening, the sun is kind of going down. I just found some shade, and Swingin' Utters are on like not the main stage, it's on like the side stage, and it was awesome because if you look at the main stage, they had like this giant turntable on the stage, so when the band's last song like rings out, it'll be like, all right, everybody, we're Anti-Flag from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll see you later. And then the stage starts to turn around, and then it's like, we're Pennywise from Hermosa Beach, California. Bah! And you're like, holy fuck. Yeah, it was nuts, cool. Right? Yeah, so the entire day, there was just like, it was just band after band and like not a lot of downtime. Yeah. And after I kind of got out of the main like pit area and I got to some of the side stages, I looked down and it was like this entire dust bowl, 'cause it's like the hottest day of the year, like any day that I've ever fucking experienced, right? Yeah. And people have just taken their shirts off and wrapped them around their mouths, and they're still like moshing through this, and it's just like dust has picked up, right? It was fucking gnarly. And I just got to watch Swingin' Utters, and I was just like in the shade, and it was just like a moment of peace for a second. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best band. And then like after like 3 years later, I got to see them like again and again and again, and they just never fucking disappoint. Nice. I absolutely love this band. But I did run into my man Guy. I hope he goes to Punk Rock Bowling. He's a guitar player for Vice Minded. You can't see them, but that's the thing up there. Yeah. And Pennywise is like headlining the show at the end of the day, and we're just like in the pit, and we just like ran into each other. Nice. Like, hey man. So yeah, that was kind of cool. So like I found like 1 out of like 10 people that we went down there with by the end of the day.
Yeah, I've had a moment like that when I was probably 2021. I was in the summer when I was at university, but I would come home for the summer. And me and Maddie and one of our other friends at the time, I won't say her name because we're not really friends anymore.
Fuck that bitch. Yeah, hey, oh, shit. Hot take.
But anyways, we went to this concert, and this was kind of when I was just getting to know this other girl, and we were, doing This was during the time we were doing MDMA heavily.
Okay.
And so we went to this concert. YG. He's like one of those new rappers.
Oh, I'm familiar with YG.
Yeah,
a gangster from what I gather.
Apparently,
that's what they say.
So he was playing
Some
at
blood shit or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was playing.
A lot of red on the stage, Jackie.
Yeah, he was playing at a club in Victoria, so small venue.
Yep.
And we go, drop some MDMA, fucking rolling at the show.
Yeah.
And we fucking lost. During those times, we would go to the club and just fucking lose each other. But me and Maddie stuck together, but we lost our other friend the whole fucking night. We had no idea where the fuck
is Janet?
Yeah, we're like, where? Like, this is a small club in Victoria. And we're like, why are we even at YG right now? Like, this is so weird. Couldn't find her the whole fucking concert, but we were having a good time.
Yeah.
We were happy.
Rolling is rolling, and,
but then the concert ends. He leaves the stage, and the DJ comes on and starts like playing other music, and the stage is still cleared. And then all of a sudden, our other friend just like comes onto stage, and she's just dancing around, and we're like, but is she? She was like the encore.
Okay. Okay.
And that's
Hell
how we
yeah,
found
girl.
her. We were like standing at the stage, like, hey, like, where the fuck have you been? She like pulls us up on stage. And so
I just sucked all these guys' dicks back.
Yeah, probably. And we were all we became the encore for YG to everyone's chagrin at the club that evening. Just fucking
something
dancing
like
around, just twerking.
It's that skinny white girl twerk, just a little bit of meat moving on each side there. A little jiggle, almost like a shiver, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. It would literally, it would just be us with like our our feet and hands planted on the ground, and then just like moving our butts.
Just moving butt.
Just moving butt. There was no technique to it.
That's awesome. I don't know. I can't say it. My butt doesn't shake at all. Like, I don't even really have a butt. Like the two little cutlets that I'm sitting on are like not really like enough to actually like move around in a sexy way.
At this time, I didn't at all. This is when I was like fucking 90 pounds. Like I had no ass, but I didn't let that hold me back.
No, as you shouldn't, Jax. As you fucking shouldn't. I don't know if I've ever had an opportunity to shake ass like that. I was talking to Bobby outside a show the other day, and he said he won a male strip competition.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, he'll be on the show one day. We'll get him to say that. But I thought that was fucking kind of cool. Yeah.
It is a little fun just to shake it around sometimes.
Sometimes you got to do it. Send us your stories of shaking it.
Yeah. But yeah, fuck. We used to lose each other at fucking clubs and concerts all the time. I feel like now I would panic a bit. If I lost the person I came to a concert with, I'd be like, okay, I'm going home.
I always get like, I'm always kind of like, fuck. Because I usually brought somebody to the show and it's not like their thing or whatever, right? Yeah. So I kind of, well, you see me in public, right? Like if I, run into somebody, I get too in the moment and I just kind of like a kid in a candy store and I just like start running around, right? Yeah. And then, well, you've been there, right? And then I'll come to at the end of the show and turn around and realize you've been stranded atop a half pipe for the entire duration of the show. Shout out to Off With Their Heads. That was an awesome show, but
that wasn't too bad though.
Yeah, exactly, right? But had you not had like a place of refuge to actually like hang out and you were just kind of like lost in the muck of fucking 6 foot tall guys with beards, at a punk show or whatever, like you're just your body and your stature, you can get lost in that crowd pretty quick, and that's not fun. You know what I mean? That's not cool for you or for me that that it brought you there, right? Just because like I should know that if I'm gonna be that excited, then I should probably go alone or with people that are, kind of like more wanting to go to that thing. I'm not like I'm not the best host. I think when it comes to that kind of shit, I always want to share that experience with everybody and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, it's your experience. Get in there. I'll see you later or something like that, which is shitty, right? So, yeah. That's kind of my thing. That's just something that I got to work on with me, right? But I mean, no rush.
Yeah. It's a process.
It really is a process. You know what I mean? And like a process for, I can't stop speaking about the fact how much better this band gets over time. Because after, I mean, a 7 or 8 year hiatus to put out Here Under Protest, they do one more, I think one more in between, and then Fistful of Hollow comes out, I think in like 2015 fucking 17 or 18, which is like, in my opinion, is one of their best records. They just put out Peace and Love right before the pandemic and all that stuff. So if you need, some positive udders, go that route, right?
Positive ud.
Positive uds, Jax. It's so awesome because like them, like the Lawrence Arms, Dillinger 4 posted that they were talking about writing an album, so that means we'll get it in 4 years, right? Which is cool. But like with bands like that, for whatever reason, I think that a lot of it stems from the fact that they collaborate. I think much more openly than a lot of other bands do. I think like and I don't want to shit on NoFX because I love that band, but they put out something recently where it's like it's whatever Mike is feeling, right? So if Mike is writing a record that is going to be, like a little bit heavier, then the record is going to be a little bit heavier, right? So it's not. And I think when you have more heads at the table that are also at the point now where they've cemented themselves as a band, they know what they're doing and stuff, and when it opens you up, like then you can go from like in the Lawrence Arms thing, we're definitely going to do one of those fucking records very soon, but if you go from like Oh Calcutta to like Metropole to Skeleton Coast, like those 3 albums, and if you track the Swingin' Utters over the last 3 albums, you know what I mean, you can see that they're like distinctly different from each other, but as soon as you put it on, that that's this band, that's this, you know what I mean, so distinctly their sound, but just like kind of have the balls to veer off a little bit, but also know who you are so much that like you're still grounded, and like that's the core of your band as well.
Right.
Fucking fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So like some bands can either fall off or get just like whatever. Same with Rancid, one of my favorite bands, right? Like they haven't really done anything to push the envelope further than they did like past their their albums like the early like early 90s, early 2000s, right? So I'm really it's cool because like these bands kind of open the door, like Rancid and NoFX open the door for, you know what I mean, like Swingin' Utters, all these other bands or whatever, right? But like the torch has now been like passed, and I'm not really looking for any new music. Or I'm not as excited about new music than I am when it's like a few specific bands, because like just if you track like the trajectory over the course of like maybe the past 10 years, they're doing nothing but getting better, right? I can't wait to see what kind of comes next.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same as I was saying when we were with Maddie talking about By the Way, is that I'm so excited to see what's next, because
you got to be stoked.
Yeah, because
right?
and like again, like they've changed their sound, they've progressed and have evolved like incredibly. Like if you listen to their first album compared to their last album,
it's night and fucking day.
It's completely different, and like within that they have gone around a lot depending on who is in the band.
Totally.
Yeah. And so it's exciting to see when you have a love for the band, you kind of love the music no matter what it is. Like there'll be albums that are like, it's not my favorite, but you still love to hear it because you love like
I listen to music like I watch Martin Scorsese movies.
Yeah.
It's the same story, but I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? Like I don't tell me that Casino and Irishman and whatever is all the same shit, because like I don't care. I'm aware. But once you find like a great way to tell a story like Martin Scorsese has, with a little bit of flashback and a little bit of voiceover, that's the fucking way he does it. And like I don't care if it's The Departed or Goodfellas or whatever, right? Like it's still the same structure, but I still like to see it, right? So so I know that like the next Rancid album isn't gonna like blow the doors off or like reinvent the genre like they did, or like reinvent themselves as a band, but I'm still excited that they're gonna do the thing, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why like I love David Lynch, and you could say, I mean, none of his movies are really the same, but it's all kind of like the same vibe, like
the same vibe for
weirdness, sure.
But
once you kind of like get like tuned into like his language and his like the weird, like the way that I watch David Lynch movies is like it's the logic of a dream, where it's like things will connect that like you don't really understand. You'll go from one thing to another that doesn't logically make sense, but if you kind of let go of reality and like you can see the connection, in sort of like on a different plane.
Well, it's almost like an experience, more of like a story. You know what I mean? In that sense, like it is, but I like love you have to you can't really judge it until you get to the end and think about it and kind of take it all in as one piece. For me anyway,
you have
like,
to put your mind into a different space when you watch it, but I love it all so much. And like I know when a new David Lynch project comes out, I know what I'm getting, but I know I'm gonna love it no matter what.
Yeah.
because like I love like his mind and the way that it works.
Totally.
Yeah.
A lot of people shit on a lot of filmmakers because like this was too much whatever for them, but I mean, well, it's the same thing like Scorsese or like I am comfortable with like the Coen brothers, even if it's not like if you could do like Fargo or Oh Brother Where Art Thou or like Inside Llewyn Davis or whatever, right? Like if you have those 3 movies over like their course are so very different, but there's like the things that still apply there are the reasons that I like those movies. Strong characters, strong dialogue, you know what I mean, right? So all that stuff will still kind of sit there. Same thing with like with Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I love
exactly.
his. I love the mind. I love the visuals.
I know it's
and,
going to
and
be kind of
strong
the same
character.
thing,
Exactly.
but I know I'm going to love it. I know it's going to be hilarious.
Totally.
I know that it's going to be pleasing to the eye to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And whether it's like Life Aquatic or Tenenbaums or like I'd say like Moonrise Kingdom or something like that or you know whatever you want to put in there. Grand Budapest Hotel
Mr.
is one of the funnest fucking movies ever.
I fucking love that movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Our friendship started with the Grand Budapest Hotel. Go watch it and then we'll tell you about it later.
Yeah. But yeah, so kind of like on that note and similar to like what we've been talking about, like this album, like I said, all the songs they're quite varied.
Yeah.
And like bands and, you know, other artists and content creators, you can have people that are all over the place.
Totally. Yeah.
Or like people that are very consistent, or you have people that they have a core theme throughout it, but they still produce variety. I'm wondering if you think, does that cross over to comedy? Like, do you think it's important to have variety in your act, or do you think it's more important to have a consistent voice and like a consistent brand almost now?
I think it's interesting because like since we've been back, I've been having so much fun just being on stage.
Yeah.
But I just watched back the tape last night. Last night I did a spot and it felt really well. The crowd was like hyped and talking amongst themselves and stuff like that, and you have to do like a couple things to really like be boisterous and get them to fucking stop paying attention to each other and start paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And I felt that like I handled that part of it, but once I got there, it felt like a good set and everybody's kind of patting you on the back afterwards. But when you go back and watch the tape, I rushed or I did too much and this and that, right?
Yeah, it's never as good when you watch it back as it feels in the moment.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Totally. But when I'm thinking about how I'm going to, you know, piece my next set together, what I'm going to take out, I think that like if the joke stands up, the joke stands up and it stays in. But its placement throughout that set is going to be very different because like the narrative or that structure or whatever, like the way that I can remember that set is that through line that you kind of craft. And I'll think like, well, this just works better here because maybe just a choice of words or like the topic or the content or whatever, right? So it's going to go there, but that like none of that, like nothing will ever take precedent over, I think, like my voice or the way that I do things because I'm just not like a big like actor. That being said, some of my favorite comedy to watch are people who can take chances and do kind of do that thing, like Tyler, like watching him kind of like do like big boisterous act outs and with his funny face and things like that, right? You can rely on a lot of things comedically that I won't. I'm not going to say can't or whatever, but just like don't or whatever because it just doesn't feel as comfortable. Yeah. So I would definitely say that like you're probably going to, you know, you're going to get some fucked up shit in a likable package, I feel like. You know what I mean? With me, I'm like a pack of cigarettes or whatever, right? So, like, if that's kind of, you know, what I'm looking for when I'm doing that, what do you think? Like, would you, are you open to wherever the joke takes you? Or do you kind of, you know that you want to kind of keep everything concise?
Well, I mean, I know... Like, obviously, when I go on stage, I know my set and where I'm going to go, but I try to leave some, because I like... you
play around more than I do,
I like talking to the crowd. I think that creates, like, memorable moments, so I try to leave some room
I fucking hate it, but
wiggle.
I did it last night, and it was the best part of the set.
Exactly. It's always the best part. If someone has a phenomenal set, if they do crowd work and have a good interaction with someone in the crowd, that's always the most memorable part, because that's a genuine thing that happened in the moment.
Yeah, and especially to that person, like that person that it happened to or whatever, it's like for better or worse, you know what I mean? But hopefully they walk away being like, oh, I was a part of the show or something.
Yeah. And so I try to leave room for that. I don't know, because sometimes I feel like, oh, like maybe I should try and like switch, like try and venture into new like topics I wouldn't normally talk about. But then I'm like, if it doesn't like come naturally, then it's not going to sound like me. It's going to sound forced. Yeah. And like, I don't know, because sometimes I feel like, oh, I should try and like write some clean material or be less dark or whatever. But then I'm like, it just doesn't.
That'd be a weird fucking Jackie Agnew act.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be fun to see. I mean, like, you're good. Yeah, but that being said, like you're, you know, like a good comic that understands joke writing can fucking do anything within that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I could.
It's up to you to want to go and tell those jokes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right? Like, what do you have fun? Like, what makes you hard when you're about to go on stage? Is like, I'm gonna fucking make some. Either heads are gonna roll or eyes are gonna roll.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. Like it's the shock, and like I feel like people almost if they haven't seen me do stand up, when they see me go up, they probably expect me to be a little more like timid or more light, more clean.
That's why, you punch
and
hard.
And that's what I think makes it like more effective, is that I'm not that way.
Yeah,
and like it just doesn't.
Disgusting things come in small packages.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's important, obviously, to have like variety in the material you do. You don't want to be talking about the same shit over and over and over again. Yep. But you also want it to be you, and you want it to be your voice and your brand, and you don't want to force a topic that you're not really into.
No, totally. And I think that the time that we have is so minute right now. There's a lot of comedy shows coming around, and like we've been fortunate enough to get on some spots, which is great, but
yeah,
you know what I mean, the spots are kind of fewer and far between, and the time that we're getting is pretty limited as well. So yeah, I mean, right now I'm just trying to have fun getting back out in
getting
there
back on stage,
and tightening some shit, right? Taking old stuff and mixing it with new or whatever, and just kind of having fun and getting the moves down again. And that's what's been the most fun part about it. But I think that to answer your question, there's nothing different that like I would ever do other than like be, because it's what's funny to me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's the shit. Yeah, the shit that comes naturally
it's
to you.
Death and like I don't know, trying to convince everybody that my mom drank through pregnancies or something stupid, right? Like I just want
exactly.
Yeah. Which obviously she didn't. I love you, Mom. But it's so much fun to hear gasp from a crowd when people are like, "What?" You know what I mean, right? And that's definitely the kind of jokes you write, because I prefer those reactions from people.
Yeah, like I like it when people are like shocked, because that is comedy. It's like the surprise.
Totally, but I mean, part of me, like, I wish that I could do like a.
I wish I could do like a
tight, clean
5.
zinger or something like that. Kind of like even like a Mark Norman fucking TV set or something, like a late night set. Like that would be great. But at the same time too, I mean, sitting there, I have to see something fucked up, and then I need to like kind of web it out and go like, where are the, you know, build everything. That's once the construction of the joke is there, that's the funnest part about it. And then knowing that you got one in your back pocket that might, you know, like split a room in half is way more fun and kind of like ballsy to tell. Last night when I was in that room, I was talking to Anna, and she was fucking, we were looking around going like, you know, nothing against like the people that are in the room, but if you look at like how tight the shirts are, how much gel is in the hair, you know what I mean, right? Like you can really get a feel for the crowd just by like, we're judging books by the cover and stuff, and they were there to see comedy, and they were actually, you know, they were pretty good, but definitely noisy, right? Like had I not gone up there and did everything that I can to get that attention brought back to me, and then it would have been a difficult night. But you know, regardless of who is in the crowd and shit like that, I think if your writing is as solid as it can be, then, you know, even if you don't kill, then like you'll still get a visceral reaction, I think, with darker stuff, because it'll be like, we fucking love you or we hate you. And I would rather that than just being like, he was okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I would rather people have some reaction than just be like, oh, whatever. And like you get a reaction from like the comics and stuff too. That's why.
That's the best part. Going back and seeing somebody like, "Ooh, shit," and give you a little fist bump or whatever. That's the best
when people are like, oh, like, I don't know, like the crowd was shitty, whatever. It's like, well, no matter if the crowd was shitty, there's still definitely a group of comics there, and like they're not a shitty crowd.
No.
like maybe comics won't laugh at the same material that they've heard for.
If I hear a same joke 13 times, you're not gonna.
I'm not gonna laugh at it. I'm gonna be like, that's still it's a good joke.
I like the placement or how it worked that night, or it was cool that you tried, or whatever, right? You can see all the minutiae.
Yeah. You can kind of tell with how the comics react with how you actually did. But yeah.
No, it's solid. I mean, this album coming out after like a 7-year hiatus, us coming back to the stage after like, you know what I mean, the 7-month hiatus, right? Like that's kind of cool how that works. What do you think? Like, do you, are you gonna hit the scenes as hard as Here Under Protest did, or do you know what I mean? Do you kind of see? What do you think about coming back?
It's super exciting. Obviously.
Are you here under protest?
Yeah. It's really exciting. It's nerve-wracking. I found it's been like 2 weeks now.
The adrenaline's back. I couldn't fucking sleep when I got home last night, and it was fine. Like, you know, I had a couple drinks after the show or whatever, but I was laying there and I was like, it was took me to like, you know, 1:32 in the morning just to like land the plane or whatever. The adrenaline is back, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I have found over like the shows that I've done over the last couple weeks, I've gotten a lot more nervous than I ever used to get.
You were totally
like I never got nervous going up ever, all for however long we were doing comedy before COVID hit. But these last like couple weeks, I've been getting like butterflies and like shaky hands and stuff. Once I'm up there, it's fine.
I had a lot of really shaky sets at the start, like very, very nervous.
Well, the first night, my first set back.
No, I mean like at that beginning, like I'm a little bit different. I think coming back
when we
now,
first started,
like I kind of know the material a little bit. Like the nerves are still there or whatever, but like I think I have a different experience. Like I feel like I kind of knew the moves a little bit already, so like it's a little bit better than starting out initially.
I think we were talking about this at the bar last night too. I think it's just the combination of. It's not so much not having done comedy for that long. It's not being around people for this long.
Yeah.
And so it's just like
no, it sucks kind of.
To then I'm like kind of over it.
No, it's cool.
No, it's been really nice to hang out with comics and stuff. But like for the first week, at the end of the night, every night I was exhausted, so drained from all, just overstimulated from, and I loved catching up with people and stuff, but I fucking hit a wall and I was like, it's fucking time to go.
You're gonna need to fucking break through that wall, Jackie.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that was the harder adjustment for me.
Sure.
It was like getting back into being so social again.
It's not the writing, it's not the performing, it's not anything.
Yeah, it's just being around so many people, and it's just very draining for me. And like I find like last night I was totally fine.
Yeah, you're on the show. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that is why I was getting more nervous was just being around that many people again.
Totally.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to be back. Like my first set back. I think it went well, but even then, because I was on the early show and then the late show, and even the difference between like the first set I did earlier in the night, that was my first set back, versus the one I did a couple hours later, that even the difference between those two felt like huge. Like I felt so much more comfortable and so much more relaxed in that second set. So it's just getting back into the swing of it, and I felt like too.
We're only getting a few spots a week here, right?
Yeah.
Like we'd be up like, I don't know, 5 times a week before all this bullshit, right? So
yeah, well, I mean, right now everyone's kind of going back
we're
hard,
at the
and
beat.
people are gonna
at the bit, for sure.
It's gonna mellow out a bit, and I'm not really too worried about that. But yeah, no, it's been really good. It's it's nice to be able to like do the thing that you feel like is like your thing again, to be like back and like with all the comics, and sort of be back in that bunch
of cunts and queefs, everybody talking about
group,
bullshit.
The group where I just feel like I fit in, and I don't feel like social anxiety around comics really, because I know like it doesn't really matter what I say.
Well, no, I don't know if it doesn't matter what you say. I think that like in the short time that we've been there,
they're
like
not going to judge me.
No, you have to respect your peers, and like everybody's kind of working together at the same goal, right? Like it's an individual pursuit, but you're in it together, kind of. You know what I mean, in that sense, right?
I just mean like you don't have to censor yourself around comments.
Not
you don't have to
even
worry about anything that's going to come out of your mouth.
Totally.
Like they're not going to think you're a fucking weirdo because we're all...
You're a racist, sexist, homophobe.
Yeah.
Which Jackie is all of the above.
Yeah.
Hard look into the camera. I'm gonna take a look down the barrel. Clip it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's been good. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to just like keep going and, you know, get used to it again.
Totally.
And all that,
Totally. And I mean, what better way to do it than in the summer? What better band to do it with than the Swingin' Utters, Jackie? I'm really excited that this band is now on your radar and going to find its way into your playlist, because there's
I made the playlist
10 to 12 there's other albums. I'm going to play you a bunch of Swingin' Utters. We're also going to do a little bit of homework for the episode that we're shooting tomorrow, which is going to be exciting. But is there any other final thoughts on the record here?
No, listen to it. It's very accessible. Like I said, you know, very it's not like super hardcore punk or anything like that. I think like even if like these last 3 years hadn't have happened with all of like the music you've shown me, I think I still would have liked this right away.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know. Shout out to Kyle Kinane on St. Patty's Day, where he's saying, you know, Dropkick Murphys jokes and shit like that, and the only reason that everybody likes Dropkick Murphys because they don't know who Swingin' Utters are. And I fucking stand behind that. Listen to this band and everything else that they do. That means sorry, I said Toys That Kill. That's a very good band, but it's not. It's Toy Guitar. It's Dead to Me, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Filthy Thieving Bastards. The list goes on and on. Fucking Google them, check it out, and swing some utters. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.